This is First Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishop, a great millstone that rule well. Peace and blessing be multiplied on all you brethren out there teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect, 144,000. I'm the brother Dama Gabar here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. All right. And as you can see, the time of peace and safety is definitely not in these times. All right. We're living in the times of, war, famine, death, destruction, perplexity. People are looking, going into this future with a great unknown. You see the situation happening over there with Russia and the Ukraine, which is opening up the doors for more war, more sneak attacks, more invasion, more bombing, just more uncertainty, All this talk about measles and mumps outbreak. Now you got the new C. ragamuffin variant allegedly, exploding over there in China. There's a bunch of cases here in New York, California, and different random states around the world. I was just reading an article earlier. They're talking about, it's about to be a crazy hurricane season that those so-called meteorologists, they're not ready or prepared for. You just recently had that so-called T attack over there in Boulder, Colorado. And now they're talking about it being more and more attacked. Look at this. This is from the People Voice. It says, Trump official warned another 9/11 coming soon. Urge Americans to prepare now. You see, and why do they know this? Because they're going back now, saying that during the Biden administration, you have hundreds of thousands of unvetted, unchecked, so-called migrants, from all over from all over the world was entering into this country illegally, getting work visas, getting permits, being unvetted, unchecked. And a lot of those unsavory characters were known to be terrorists, so-called terrorists, people from there's like hundreds of thousands of Chinese migrants that they haven't caught. People from the Middle East was coming into this country, from Africa, all type of unsavory characters under the Biden administration was freely walking across into the soils of America, with ill intentions. But at the same time, what are they showing you on TV? I just saw an article yesterday in Florida. They're rounding up all these Mexican so-called migrants from Central and South America who were working on job sites. They're snatching up women and children, so-called Latin women and children off the streets, out of their houses, from off their jobs, with the plan of deporting them back to their country of origin. But you never hear talk of them gathering up hundreds and thousands of Chinese migrants, suspected terrorists, which these people know and supposedly had tabs on. Now all of a sudden they're nowhere to be found. They're mysteriously just disappeared here in America, with ill intentions and plans and bombs and weapons and all type of terroristic ambitions, and they're nowhere to be found. So now they're telling you Americans need to prepare for a new 9/11, which we know through the spirit that these things was all done intentionally because these elites want to bring that order out of chaos here in Babylon. All right. They need particular crises and situations to arise here so that they could be justified and, doing away with the Constitution, setting in a perpetual state of martial law. They need the fear. They need the chaos. They need the suspicion that, at any moment, anything can happen here, which something pretty soon might just well happen here in Babylon the Great. And we know, it's going to be blamed on some type of hostile individual, whether it's, some white nationalist doing something or one of these Muslim terrorists. Shit, they might even get bold enough to say that it was one of these Hebrew, a Hebrew Israelite individual that did a particular thing. But one thing we know for sure is that these crises are needed. And we know that since these devils are running out of time, they're being exposed, their agenda is being delayed, people are waking up. They need something of this magnitude to, bring fear. And one thing we know about fear, fear will make people give away more of their rights in order to feel some sense of safety. And we know that these devils need chaos in order to gain control, to get back, control of the narrative, and to, set things in motion so that their agendas can be, put into place. All right. They need everybody to be, on their database. They need all of your biometrics. They need to make sure, in order for you to feel safe, when things get out of control, that they're going to have the perfect system in place to maintain peace and safety, man. But anyways, through some of this article, it says Trump administration officials are sounding the alarm over the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. And don't think that that wasn't done by design. All right, here it is. They got all this technology. They got AI. They got satellites that could fucking zoom in on a penny from space. And all this technology and all this sophistication. But you mean tell me you got hundreds of thousands of people that are not that was brought in this place unvetted, just running around, not being able to be found? Come on, they found Saddam Hussein in a spider hole in the middle of the goddamn desert, thousands of miles away. But they don't know all these individuals are running loosely in this society and in this country, operating, probably buying all type of shit, bombs and shit of that nature. Come on, man. All right. A lot of this shit is being definitely orchestrated because these devils need something like this to forward their agenda. It says on Monday, border czar Tom Homan expressed deep concern during an appearance on Fox News, stating he is convinced that the United States is on the brink of a major terrorist event that scares the hell out of him, one he attributes directly to President Biden's immigration and border policies. All right. It says it's coming, Homan said, referring to the likelihood of an attack carried out by individuals who entered the country illegally through the southern border. He pointed specifically to the estimated 2 million gotaways, migrants who evaded capture by Border Patrol, as a critical national security threat, surpassing even the ongoing crisis of drug and human trafficking. See, so they're telling you there's allegedly 2 million gotaways, which is probably more. And I know for a fact that you got a lot of Russian agents here in Babylon the Great, a lot of agents from, Iran, the Middle East, Israel, from all over the fucking place. You got all type of MI6 and other operatives from other countries all in this country, man. Setting up shop. You got a bunch of sleeper cells. You got a lot of individuals that's been trained and that are being funded by the powers that be to carry out particular jobs when the time is right, man. They're over here recruiting. They're getting people involved. All type of shit like this is happening here in Babylon the Great because it's ultimately going to serve the agenda of these elites, man. And now they're coming out and telling you it's just a matter of time because they're quarterbacking a lot of these things. All right. Don't think for one second that guy Homan and Trump, that they don't know that these things are being orchestrated and being set up to be used at a particular time to move forward this agenda, man. Remember, this man deals with secrecy. He deals with lies and sorcery and, backhandedness, things of this nature, It says these 2 million known getaways scares the hell out of me, Homan said, adding that he fears some could be terrorists. Okay. All right. It says, I'm convinced something's coming unless we can find them, he warned. And why are they saying this? I don't know. Maybe it's to bring more fear, maybe so they can, get more draconian with these so-called deportations. Maybe they're saying this so that, they can pass particular laws to literally deem anybody a goddamn terrorist unless you biometrically and systematically get on board with this new digital safe system. They might let them blow up some shit and then be like, hey, all these terrorists are on the loose. We basically don't know who's who. So we're going to set up this system for everybody to get on board with so we can know who's who and, see if you have anything to hide. Everybody, submit your biometrics. We need your facial recognition, your fingerprints. We need to put particular devices inside of you so that we can know who each and every individual is, so you can be scanned and, so we could track and trace and keep tabs on everybody here because we just don't know who is who. It'll make the job easier for us to, get all these gotaways. You can't put shit like that past this devil, But hey, we'll see what's going to happen. It says, Holman noted that it was alarming to him that millions of migrants went to great and expensive lengths to avoid detection when the Biden administration was quickly releasing illegal border crossers into the U.S. It says, why did 2 million illegal aliens pay more to get away? Holman told Hannity they could have paid half of what they paid to cross the border, turned themselves into Border Patrol agents, get released that same day, get a free airline ticket to the city of their choice, get a free hotel room, get 3 meals a day, plus free Medicare and work authorization. But we know that a lot of that shit was being orchestrated, man. Why would they even allow that to happen? Why would Biden even say, surge the border, blah, 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 blah? Because this shit was all being quarterbacked, man. That shit just wasn't being done out of the kindness of America's heart. Remember, this man, this is the devil we're talking about. All right. He wasn't just bringing in all these people just because, they're such great humanitarians and, they wanted to give these immigrants a so-called better life. But here it is, they allowed them to come in, to get settled, to get all, to bunker down, getting all this money, getting all this housing and free shit, knowing that a lot of these motherfuckers was a terrorist. They were paid agents. They were told to come in here, go through this process, and then get relocated, get their cell phones, and just wait till you get the phone call to do whatever you was gonna do, man. You had those dudes crossing the border, literally coming in with the same clothes, the same boots, the same backpack, just all fucking obvious and just blatant to the point that, these weren't just, they were military age men, just coming in, just freely walking into the country, man. See, but they know that the average American is so damn stupid that they wouldn't think that, well, why would they do that? Why would they put us at risk? Not knowing that they have an agenda with all of this shit, man. And now all of a sudden, these motherfuckers are nowhere to be found. Come on, man. It says 2 million people paid more to get away, he argued. They didn't want to be vetted. They didn't want to be fingerprinted. Why? This scares the hell out of me, and I've been doing this for 40 years. It should have scared the hell out of every American what the Biden administration did. Holman described the getaways as the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen and predicted that the U.S. would be grappling with the effects of Biden border policies for the next 10 years. And now, it ain't going to be that long. Because what? Like I said, they got an agenda. They're going to use these individuals for particular things, man. Ultimately, to bring more chaos and confusion and fear that's going to allow, certain executive orders and, particular laws to be passed to take away more rights of the people, to bring in this new world order system, to crash this society, to bring in civil war, to bring in just all type of calamity and hell and fear-based psychological, trauma to the American people, to where they're going to be begging for answers, begging to be safe, begging to give away more of their rights so that, things can go more smoothly, man. It says, let me get this, man. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 12. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. You see, because that's what these elites ultimately want to do. They want to bring the chaos. They want to bring terroristic and, uncertainty, perplexity, manufactured famines, societal collapse, people not trusting one another, financial ruin. And ultimately they want to, collapse this Babylonian American system so that they can bring in this NWO, man. And what better way to do it is to bring all of this chaos and disorder and fear and uncertainty to come back with the answer to solve all of these problems, man. It says, the Borders Are comments came one day after a madman who was in the country illegally torched and injured 12 people with a makeshift flamethrower and Molotov cocktails in an anti-Semitic terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. The suspect firebomber Mohammed Sabri Soliman is a 45-year-old Egyptian national who entered the country on a tourist visa in 2022, sought asylum, and later obtained a work permit from Biden administration, according to the Trump administration. You see, and how many individuals you think that are in here like this? You don't think it was possible that this guy was given orders to come here and to carry out that particular thing? That didn't one day just get a phone call and saying, hey, today's the day, go out and, do such and such, man. And according to him, there's over 2 million unvetted, so-called terrorists here in here in Babylon, the Great America, probably living in your neighborhoods, probably working on a job with you, probably at the parking next to you at the grocery store or whatever. See, but this is the scenario that that they're painting, because ultimately we know that, hey, these devils have an agenda, man, and they're getting ready to roll it out, man. All right, and this is 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11. It says, read something. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And remember, we know that these devils, they they commune of laying snares privily, that these devils have an agenda. All right, none of this shit is just by coincidence, man. None of this stuff is just happening under the radar and under the eye of the so-called United States government or these intelligence agencies, man. Look, they're all orchestrating. They're all working behind the scenes to get this thing rolling, man. And these devils are not going to stop until they get the desired results that they're ultimately trying to do. So at the end of the day, man, hey, we just got to be circumspect. Know that these days are evil. Like we always say, brothers, make sure you're praying for yourself, for the Akim, for the elders, for your wife and your children, and even for yourselves, man, whenever you're out and about in this world, because we're living at a time to where, hey, man, shit is about to get crazy out here. And a lot of unexpected things, well, we're expecting them, but unexpected to the general public is about to just start happening, man. So be careful of being in places where there's shitload of people, going to festivals, going to concerts, going to places where there's thousands of people just sitting in one area, coming together, because that's when they're going to start letting a lot of these so-called attacks happen, man. So we just got to make sure that we're prayed up. We understand what this devil is trying to do. And, hey, it's getting to the point to where he's going to start pulling a lot of these things and start blaming it on, different individuals, so that he could, get the upper hand and, set this trap and snare for people of this society, man. So, with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. All praise, honor, glory to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. To the next one, Shalom.